Griffin, talk about just maybe mentally, getting up for this game. How is it different to maybe a game during, mid-March or April? Obviously, I think sometimes you got to program yourself and say, hey, it's just another game, it's another league game, but it is a more important game, it's do or die. So just that mental, I guess, battle, how do you kind of balance it?
Yeah. I mean, you started the question off by saying get up for the game. I don't think that there's going to be any issues getting up for a game like this. Um, Being one of the biggest games in my career, I think that it is a balance. It's a balance of understanding the moment and understanding how big it is for not only myself, but the team and also the club. Um, and also just taking it as another game. I mean, I like to pride myself on preparing every game like it could be my last game. And so once again, I'd say it's a balance of understanding that this is a big moment, but also a balance of understanding it's still 11 on 11, 22 guys out there on the field trying to win.
Is this long layoff kind of tough?
Yeah, for sure. I think for any player, we want to just play, and to have to wait 2 weeks to play another game is tough. And I can only imagine what Kansas City's thinking after close to 3 weeks now. The playoff structure is definitely a little weird for all. I would say a majority, if not all, the players that are still playing, and um, it's definitely a different weird balance.
Is there a different urgency also while the game is happening, knowing it's like one game and that's it?
Yeah, I mean, once again, I like to pride myself on thinking that that's how I approach every single game. Um, but I would say that there's definitely a different energy. There's definitely a different environment. I think this team has seen, quite a few of those games this season with Leagues Cup, Opens Cup, and the playoffs. We've seen a lot of those do or die moments, and I would say it's definitely a bit of a shift.
Griffin, Ben a few moments ago mentioned that at the beginning of training camp, him and the coaching staff were mentioning, hey, playoffs, right from the very get-go. Um, Obviously, kind of considering the history of the team where it had struggled, in recent years and stuff. Did you foresee this moment right now at the beginning of the year, or has it been a progression where it's April, then it's August, and then September? And now Ben was talking about how U.S. Open Cup, you start kind of competing, and then you get to the final and you win and you get some silverware. Then it's like, okay, well, we're not in the playoffs yet, so now we're battling for playoffs. Boom, you qualify, but then now you're battling for that 4 seed or the best seeding possible, and now you're here, in the conference semis. Has it been a progression for you as well, opening your eyes and saying, okay, wow, we've really grown, or did you kind of foresee this moment from the very get go?
Yeah, I mean, I've been here for close to 3 years now, and I think that one of the biggest pushes that the new management coming in, since I got here with Pat Onstead and Asher, it's always been a focus on trying to make it to the playoffs. And I would say this year was definitely a progression year for us. I mean, as a team, we had a lot to prove to a lot of people that we're a team that's willing to compete. And I think part of it we had to prove to ourselves that we are a team that's able to compete and win big games and big moments. To answer your question, I would say yes, it's definitely been a bit of a buildup. Not only for us believing in ourselves, for the club believing in the players, for the fans believing in the team. But over the past 6 months, I would say that the entire team has genuinely believed that this is a moment we compete in and will continue to compete.
Hey, John, we see that you have your hand up on Zoom. Do you have a question for Griff?
Yeah, thank you. Griffin, first of all, I think you've had an outstanding year. I'm a big fan of yours. I love watching you play. And I wanted to ask you, with all of the attacking talent that Kansas City has, that Ben mentioned, what do you think will be, without giving away too much, what do you think will be some of the keys in order to, if not shut them down, at least contain them?
Yeah, I appreciate that first comment. It means a lot. I would also say that we touched on it earlier, but the balance, especially as an outside back, and even having Franco on the other side, who's another attacking threat on the left. It's about us. It's about us balancing our attack and defense to be able to shut down the threats that they have going forward. Obviously, they're a super dangerous team with a lot of attacking ability, and that requires a little bit more of a defensive-minded game. And I would say that defensive-mindedness can come from Franco and I, and the balance in which we play.
Going back to the urgency question of the game, how important is it in a one game elimination to kind of stick to the game plan, not try and do too much? You're saying kind of know when to push, when not to. So not try and do too much, be the hero, and just stick to the plan.
Yeah. I mean, once again, I think in every game you're trying to stick to the plan. And you could hit the field and the plan could light up in flames in 5 seconds, and you have to adapt to that. I think this game is no different. And I would say that, yeah, for sure, you have to balance, sticking to the game plan, but also giving what the game takes you and taking what's there as well. And I think that's going to be a big part of this game in this moment.
Maggie, go ahead.
Hey, Griffin. You talk about the whole team in itself shifts a lot of all of the accomplishments to the team itself, but you have individually had some great ones. But your season did not start where a lot of players did. It was on the bench. So individually, how can you, what do you credit to your growth in becoming the sensational player that you really have been in the talk of MLS?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I would say the beginning of the season was very difficult for me. But I would also like to reiterate that the coaching staff, they didn't fall short in believing in me and continuing to push me to be the best person I could be and the best player that I could be, day in and day out. And I think that, having the opportunity to have been a part of the team, whether it was on the bench or playing at the beginning of the season, I was there to continuously work hard and try to be the best version of myself on and off the field. And the constant work that I was able to put in, not only personally, but also with the coaching staff, was super helpful to getting me to the point that I'm at today. And also reminding myself that it's still the exact same for me as a player. I want to be the best version of myself on and off the field every single day. And that takes continuous work with the coaching staff. And so, although it might seem like on the field things have changed for me a lot, but I would say that in and around the training grounds, not much has changed for me.
Would you credit any of your success to growing your hair out?
Of course.
Thanks, Griffin.
Thank you.
Dustin, go ahead.
Hey, Griffin.
Hi, how are you?
Good. You talked about it a little, but Sporting Kansas City is, I think, the top in the league in attacking on their left-hand side. What does that change for you, just your mentality? I know you not tactically get into it a lot, but just mentally, how do you kind of shift focus when a team, likes to attack a lot on your side?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if they're spending a bunch of energy defending, then they can't attack as well. That'd be my first comment. And my second comment is discipline. And we talked about it time and again about balance and when to go forward and when to stay. But, I'm a firm believer that if I can make the attackers defend, then they can't attack me with as much energy. And it's definitely going to be a balance.